Hello students, my name is Wahidullah and I am chemistry lecturer here at Kurtuba School and Colleges. Students, it's our third lecture of chapter 2 of 10th class, and that is Bronsted and Lowry concept of acid and bases. Dear students, remember that our chapter name is acid, bases and salts. Today what we are going to study is we are going to study the definition of Bronsted and Lowry acid, the definition of Bronsted and Lowry base, further explanation along with examples, and also we are going to discuss what is conjugate acid, what is conjugate base. Last but not the least, that is what are the key points of today's lecture. Okay, let me tell you a short story of Bronsted and Lowry. Bronsted was actually a chemist, and along with Lowry, he proposed the definition of acid and base in 1923 on the compound's ability to either donate or accept a proton. In this theory, acid is defined as a proton donor, whereas a base is defined as a proton acceptor, and a compound which acts both as a proton acceptor and a proton donor, that compound is called as amphoteric. But you can say a compound that acts as both is Bronsted-Lowry acid and Bronsted-Lowry base. That compound is called as amphoteric. By amphoteric we mean that it would be having both characters, both nature, like it would be acid in one case as well as it will be base in another case. Now, what is the definition of Bronsted and Lowry acid and base? An acid is a species or a substance which releases a proton, and base is a substance that can accept a proton. Okay, remember student, then when we look in terms of its chemical structure, it means that the Bronsted-Lowry acid must contain a hydrogen that can dissociate as a proton or H plus ion, and also in order to accept a proton, a Bronsted-Lowry base must have at least one lone pair of electron to form a new bond with the proton. Remember students, lone pair of electron is that pair which does not take part in bonding. I think it would be clear to you people. Okay, now for that you have to consider this general example in which you can see NH3, which is called as ammonia. It reacts with hydrochloric or hydrogen chloride gas, that is HCl, and they form ammonium chloride, NH4Cl. Okay, this reaction can also be represented by reactant, as you can see here. You can see NH3. Nitrogen had formed 3 bonds with each oxygen, while the 2 dots shows that there is a lone pair of electron in nitrogen. Whereas, according to our previous slide, as I told you, that it is necessary for a Bronsted-Lowry acid that it should contain hydrogen. So here, as you people can see, that HCl contain a hydrogen in the form of H. When it dissociates, so the H will be released as H plus as a proton. Because the electronegativity of chlorine is far greater than H, therefore it will take the bonded electron more towards itself, and it would become negatively charged, as shown in the picture on the very right. So here you can see that hydrogen dissociates into H plus ion, and it reacts with ammonia, and they form NH4 plus along with chlorine Cl. So overall charge is neutral. You can say NH4Cl is a neutral molecule, but we will be having a positive charge on nitrogen and a chlorine charge on negative charge on the chlorine. Remember students, the H has been shown in light green color. In this reaction, HCl donates its proton, is shown, as I told you, that it's shown in light green color, to ammonia. Therefore, HCl is acting as a Bronsted-Lowry acid. Ammonia also has a lone pair of electron which is used to accept the proton. Therefore, ammonia is a Bronsted-Lowry base. Remember student, that according to Arrhenius theory, the above reaction would not be an acid-base reaction because neither species is forming H plus or OH minus ion in water. However, the chemistry is to involve proton transfer from HCl to ammonia, and they form ammonium chloride, that is NH4Cl. Okay, now it's time to identify Bronsted-Lowry acid and base. So you can see here in the reaction between nitric acid along with the water. So nitric acid HNO3 donates its proton, as you can see as shown in blue color. This blue color hydrogen is dissociated from ammonia in the form of H plus ion, or you can say in the form of proton, and a lone pair of electron from water, or specifically from oxygen, they accept that proton and they form H3O plus ion along with NO3 minus ion. So here HNO3 act as an acid while H2O act as a base. Now it's clear that since water accepts the proton from nitric acid to form H3O plus ion, water act as a Bronsted-Lowry base, as I told you. So this reaction is highly favors the formation of product. So the reaction arrow is drawn only to the right. It means that it's a single-headed reaction, or you can say it's only proceed in forward direction. It's not a reversible reaction. Okay, now it's time to explain the second example. As you people can see that here NH3, which I told you that it is ammonia, it reacts with water molecule and they form ammonium ion plus hydroxyl ion in a reversible chemical reaction. So here, as you people can see that water is donating one of its proton to ammonia. So according to the definition of Bronsted and Lowry, any species that donate a proton is an acid. So here in this case, water acts as an acid, yeah. While in the previous case, as we discussed, in the case of nitric acid HNO3, there water was acting as a base. Now here it is acting as an acid. So ammonia, it accepts a proton, so it acts as a base in this case. So okay, we can say here that water is a proton donor in the reaction, so it is acting as a Bronsted-Lowry acid, while ammonia accepts a proton from water to form an ammonium ion, so that acts as a base. As you people have noticed, students, that in one reaction water was acting as an acid, while in the previous reaction water was acting as a base. So we can say that according to definition of amphoteric substances, that amphoteric substances are those substances which can act both as an acid, both and as a base as well. So here we can say that water is an amphoteric. Now you people can see that here HCl react with H2O and they form H3O plus ion plus Cl ion in a reversible chemical reaction. So here now you people can see HCl donates its proton, so it acts as an acid, while H2O accepts the donated proton from HCl, so H2O is a base. Now HCl donates a proton, so it's an acid, while H2O accepts a proton, so it's a base. Now what is conjugate acid and conjugate base? Conjugate acid, when an acid donates a proton and form a negatively charged species, as you people see, notice that when HCl is dissociated, so HCl donates a proton, and that is H plus ion, and as a result a negatively charged chlorine ion is produced, that is Cl minus ion. So then that Cl minus ion can accept a proton. So that's why that Cl minus ion can act as a base. It is known as a conjugate base of the corresponding acid. Now here you people can see that here HCl, when react with water, so they form hydronium ion, that is H3O plus ion, while Cl minus ion comes from an acid, or HCl produces Cl minus ion. Now that Cl minus ion can act as a base, so that's why that is called that it is a conjugate base of the corresponding acid. Here Cl is a conjugate base of HCl, while H3O plus is a conjugate acid of H2O, which is base. H2O here in this case is base. When a base, now what is conjugate base? So students, when a base accepts a proton and form a positively charged species, and that species can donate a proton and can act as an acid, so it is known as a conjugate acid of the corresponding base. Here you people can see that ammonia react with water, they form ammonium ion along with OH minus ion. Here you people have noticed that NH3 accept a proton, so that's why NH3 is a base and they form NH4 plus ion. Here the NH4 plus ion can act as an acid because they can donate a proton. Here NH4 plus ion is a conjugate acid, while OH minus ion is a conjugate base. Now student, it's time to tell you about the key points of our today's lecture, and that was that a Bronsted-Lowry acid is any species that is capable of donating a proton, or you can say H+. A Bronsted-Lowry base is any species that is capable of accepting a proton which requires a lone pair of electrons to bond to the proton or H+ ion. What is amphoteric substances? As I told you, that amphoteric substances are those substances that can act both as an acid as well as base. So here, as we discussed, that water is amphoteric because in one case, in reaction with HCl and nitric acid, water was acting as a base, while in the reaction with ammonia, it was acting as an acid. Strong acid and bases ionize completely in aqueous solution, while weak bases and acids and bases ionize partially. We will be discussing this point in our next lecture. The conjugate base of a Bronsted-Lowry acid is the species formed after an acid donates a proton. The conjugate acid of a Bronsted-Lowry base is the species formed after the base accepts a proton. I hope it will be clear to you people. Work hard and stay home, stay safe. Thank you so much for your time.